Hello, crafting friends. I'm Doreen DeCebus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Funfold Friday, my favorite day of the week. I love sharing fun folds with you, and tonight's fun fold is definitely a wow card. So tonight I'm going to be using the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set. I love this bundle and the paper and just about everything that goes with it. And actually, you're going to find out Sunday night or right now that this is the set I'm going to be using for Simply Stamping Sunday. But we're not going to be doing a simple stamping card tonight with it. I'm also going to use With You in Mind because I want a really bold happy birthday for this card. This is going to be a card that's going to be sent a little late to my sister, but I wanted to make her a really wow card, and her birthday was last week, so I'm getting it out late, but that's okay because that's what usually happens. So let me put these aside and let me show you the card that we're going to make. Now this card measures 5 by 5. And so it's not going to fit in a standard envelope. It's also pretty bulky, so it's going to need extra postage no matter what. This is the kind of card that I usually put in a gift bag with a present so that I don't even have to put it in an envelope. And you're going to see that this is a multifaceted card. So this is called a double panel pop-up card. So this is the front of the card, Time to Celebrate, has a beautiful butterfly cut out. When you open it up, here's the pop out, so be ready for it. So I've got 2 cards that pop out. It goes to the top and to the bottom of the card. So it's pretty cool the way it pops out. The most complicated part about this card are the mechanisms, but I'm going to show you how to make them all, so it's not going to be as hard as you think. And when you close it, it looks like we're back to the front of the card, but the card is going to pop open like that. So you have a place to say happy birthday and write your birthday wishes inside the card. So again, this is the front of the card. It opens up to a pop-out card. And then when you close the card, there's another panel on the back of the card. Hi, Bonnie. Thanks for joining me tonight. So let's get this started. So you probably can see at the top of the screen that I have already stamped and die cut some butterflies just to save some time. This card is a little more complicated than most of the cards I make for Funfold Friday, but it's one of those wow cards that are really worth it in the end. Okay, so let's talk about what you need for cardstock. To start off, this card's going to be a berry burst card, so we're going to be using a lot of berry burst cardstock. So the first piece, it measures 5 by 10, and the scoring on the cards are very simple, just 5 inches for this one. Then I'm going to need 4 pieces that measure 1.5 by 2. These are for the mechanisms, and I'm going to make all 4 of them for you so that you will see me multiple times making the mechanism. I am also going to need 2 right here, 2 3/8 by 6 inch cards that will be scored at 3 inches. And then for that back panel card, I'm going to need a piece that measures 4 3/4 by 9.5, and this one will be scored at 4 3/4. I'm going to need also a panel of 4 by 4, and then I have a piece of basic white that's 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. I was at my friend Leslie's the other day. Hi, Angela. And I don't have this stamp. It says I didn't forget your birthday. I'm just stretching out the celebration that I stamped there so that I could put that one on the inside of the card. For designer series paper, I'm using 3 different designs tonight. So I need to start 2 of these. These are for the inside of the card. They measure 4 5/8 by 4 5/8. I am going to need one of these that measures 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. And then I'm going to use 3 of the same pattern that measure 4 5/8 by 4 5/8. All right. So and then finally, these are going to go on the inside of those little mini cards. You need 4 of these that measure 2 1/4 by 2 7/8. Okay, I think we're ready to start. All right, so again, let me just show you the card. So the front, all the stamping is going to be right here at the bottom. On the inside, I'm doing something to all 4 of those little pieces of paper, but the 2 big ones are just going to be put on the inside. I'm going to do some stamping on the back and some stamping on the inside. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to get my stamping all set and done. So I'm going to start with putting aside the things I don't need to stamp. So this, and let me just find my, I thought I took it out. No, I put it away. Let me grab my Berry Burst stamp pad. Well, I thought I had it out here, and it's not where it should be. Well, maybe we'll start putting things together while I discover the whereabouts of my ink pad. I think this just describes perfectly how my week has been, with just weird things. Oh, it's right here. I knew I had it out. Okay, with just everything that's been going on. Okay, so in this piece, the only thing we have to stamp is the greeting. So it is over here. And I'm going to stamp this right in the bottom right of the front of my card. And that's going to be all the stamping we're going to need to do on that piece. And we're done with that stamp. Okay, so I'm going to just put this aside over here. On the inside with the Simply Said stamp set, because it had the perfect birthday wishes size-wise, I am going to stamp, let me just get a block. I'm going to do one a little bigger. I'm going to stamp the birthday wishes, again in the same ink. There we go. I'm going to set that aside. And then I am going to stamp, 2 of them are just going to get some die cuts put on them. And I am going to be stamping some butterflies. And these are the half butterfly. They look like they're flying all over the place. There we go for that. And then on the very back, I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to be stamping that nice, bold, happy birthday. So it's going to go right across the center. And there we go. And then I'm going to stamp some of those little butterflies, kind of flirting around the happy birthday. There we go. And I already have the inside stamped, so the stamping for this card is all done. So I'm going to just set that all aside, and I'm going to have my designer series paper set aside. Okay, let's just do some folding and burnishing. So this fold I learned, I was taking, I think I mentioned it a week or so ago, I was taking an online retreat with demonstrators from the United States and from Australia. And one pair of demonstrators has a a mechanical engineer is her husband, and he just creates the most incredible folds, and and his wife does too, and that's where this fold came from. So I did not create it, but I have made a couple of them now. You can also make this in a 5x7. I haven't tried yet to cut it down to, you know, a 5.5 by 8.5 card. I think there's just not enough room to put those mechanisms in and have the pop-up piece. Okay, so that's the inside of the card. Now on the front, I'm not going to decorate it yet. I'm just going to put all the paper down. We got this piece over here. Will go on the front. And I'm not going to put the back part on, whoops, this is not straight. I'm not going to put the back part on. I'm going to put the paper in it, but I'm not going to attach it yet until after I get my mechanisms into the card. Okay, let's try this again. Get it nice and even. Gotta go over just a little bit more. Well, I hope everyone had a nice week. We had what New Hampshire calls our false spring. We had several days. This is how it is in New Hampshire. So we had like 3 days that it was close to 50. Well, I'm not going to fool around with this anymore. It's still not perfect, but that's okay. It was close to 50 every single day for the first part of the week, and then on Thursday we had a winter storm and got a ton of snow and ice and freezing rain, and we're supposed to get more snow this weekend, and then it's supposed to be back to frigid temperatures. So we'll go back and forth like this until spring actually happens. Like I said, that's New Hampshire for you. Now on the inside, I'm going to, so we've got this on the outside of our back panel card. These are going to go on the inside. I'm using the beautiful Bokeh designer series paper. It goes with the beautiful butterfly sweet collection. You, of course, you don't have to have this many panels. You don't have to have the back card, only if you want to. All right, so this is going to go on this piece. Stamped it a little crooked the first time. So I'm always glad that there's 2 sides to a piece of paper. And this is going to go right inside. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Now, let's bring these over and take care of so these little butterflies are going to go on one side. This is going to be the bottom little pop-out mechanism. So far you can see that this is super easy. There's nothing difficult with the paper, the scoring, or putting the different layers together. It's when we get to the next part. And then I'm going to just take a couple of these butterflies. I'm going to grab my silicone mat because I just make a mess with the liquid glue. And I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back to hold these in place. So I'll put one flying up towards the left, and one will go to the right. I'll just hold those down for a little bit. Okay, so this first card, inside card, is all set to go. Now for the second inside card, we're going to be putting the birthday and this one, a bigger, it's right here. So let's we'll add the happy birthday. And then just the plain piece of paper, and we're going to add that butterfly. And I'm not going to use glue on this because I can just add some Stampin' Seal to hold it down. Okay, so there are our two little pop-up cards that are going to go inside the card. All right, I'm going to set this all aside. So now we're going to work on the mechanisms, and then we'll decorate the card. So the only thing I've done on the mechanisms, and I'm going to show you how I did this, was I made two little lines going across the center. They're at 3/4 of an inch in both ways. And so to do this, I took, there we go, I took my piece of paper and I just matched it up at, this is at the 5-inch mark, and made sure that it was aligned straight with the grid. And then I brought my ruler to the 3/4 inch mark. Going the wrong way though, that's why it doesn't look right. Okay, let's try that again. So I'm going the long way. And I'm going to line up my ruler against that line, and I'm just going to put a soft line going across like that. And then I am going to just go over a 1/2 inch. That would bring me to the other 3/4 inch mark going from the other direction. We need those lines. I actually tried to make the mechanisms without using the lines, but you'll see that you really don't even see the lines once the card is made. So now we're going to do some scoring. So the first thing I'm going to do is score all of them at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to get that part done real quick because that's the easy scoring. So right in the middle at 3/4 of an inch. And here's the last one. Okay, now when I'm going to do the scoring and then I'm going to show it to you in the camera. So I'm going to start at the score line at 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to put that first pencil line right into the where the track is for the scoring blade, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well. Okay, and I'll show you how you can see that there's like an arrow pointing this way. The one thing that you want to remember is that when we score here, it's going to be the arrow going in the same direction. You don't want to score it the way I scored it. So I have to eye where that line intersects with the score mark. And I'm going to score there. It's okay if I go a little past it. Then I'm going to bring this down and eyeball it again that it's in the right place. And score it. Whoops, I need to go up a little further. So as you can see, I think I've got this. I'm just waiting for it to come up on my phone to make sure. Hi, Barbara. As you can see, the arrows made by the score marks are going in the same direction. Okay, that's the first one. When I go to fold it, I'm going to start by folding on that center fold line and give it a really good crease. And then I am going to, on the back, I'm going to start with the back arrow. I'm going to fold the side score lines like that so that this goes in and folds like that. So it makes a fold mark that looks like this. And then on this side, I'm folding those score marks up. So we have these two little flaps. So this is what it looks like from the top. And this is what it looks like from the bottom going up. Okay, I'm going to do that 3 more times so that you'll have a good idea on how I am making those. So again, I'm going to go from my score line for the top. And then I'm going to go again from the score line to the pencil mark. Then for the bottom, I am going from the center, trying to line that right up in the track. And then I'm going to go from that point again to the corner. Just making sure I have it lined up. Okay, so the folding will be in half. Then I'm going to open this up. I'm going to fold this one in, fold this one in, so making like those valley folds. And then I'm going to fold these up. And we have our second mechanism. All right, so we're going to do this with the third piece. So again, I'm going to start at the score line, match that pencil mark up, score, do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to again match that center piece up with the tip and just try to line it up with my eye to make sure it's where it's supposed to be. And again, if you offshoot it a little bit, that will be okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to fold at that 3/4 inch mark. And then I'm going to open it. I'm going to go to the back side first, do those valley folds. And then push it in to get that angled, like a right triangle. And then I'm going to take the other side and fold those flaps up. And that is our third mechanism. We only need one more. There we go. Our next one. And now our last mechanism. So I'm going to go to that score line and to my pencil line. You can see why you really need those pencil lines on. And like I said, you're not going to see them once we put the card together. But it is not easy to do to make the mechanism without the pencil marks, especially when you're trying to line up this part here. And like I said, when you try these and you're having a hard time wrapping around, just remember those arrows from the score line have to go in the same direction. Okay, we can put the paper cutter and scoring tool away. So again, I'm going to fold there. I'm going to go to the back end and do those valley folds on both sides, and then push it in to get that right triangle, and then I'm going to fold the flaps up. Now, I want to show you what happens if you put the mechanisms in the wrong way. You don't get the same kind of pop-up. It kind of makes a little bit of a mess. So what you have to think of when you're putting these together, I want to have on the top, I want my flaps to be going up and the angle of the fold going like this. So this will be for the top mechanism, and for the bottom mechanism, you want it the opposite way. You want it so these flaps, so you can see when I open these flaps, they want to just pop everywhere. Let me get this right. When I open these, nope, I had it right the other way. When I open these when I open this flap here, it goes up. And when I have this going the right way, these flaps will go down. So you need to have the top and the bottom mechanisms going in the opposite direction. Okay, let me just put those aside for a minute. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to take the cards. So for the top one, and this is the top one with it going this way, I am going to be putting my glue right in here. So I'm just going to get that. I'm going to add some glue on both of these because they're going to go around the spine. And I want this to be just a tad lower than the, it's maybe 1/8 of an inch down. This is Berry Burst, Barbara. Okay, So that one's on. And the second one, which is going to go on exactly the same way, is going to go that same bit of distance right below it. So I'm going to put that in, have it about 1/8 of an inch below, hold it in place for a minute so the glue can adhere. Okay, I'm just going to let that sit and dry for a bit. Okay, now I'm going to grab my second card, and this is the one that's going to pop up from the bottom. So again, another way to think of it is that if I open this up, you can see the opening is right here. But on this one, it's the spine is at the top. Okay, now this one, these are going to go down at the bottom using the same kind of measurements, about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom. And I'm just going to hold this in place for a few seconds to let it adhere. And then I'm going to do the same with this one, and it's going to go about 1/8 of an inch above it. Sixteenth of an inch. You just don't want it touching. I mean, I suppose it could touch, but it's probably better that it doesn't. Okay, I'm going to hold that in place as well. Okay, so I'm going to grab my card front. When I put this in, I want the card front, the card. So as you can see in here, when this is closed, the card is almost right at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to line it up with the designer series paper, and I'm going to make sure that this is just shy of the fold mark. And I am going to put this time my adhesive on those little tabs, and I'm going to close the card and hold that down. All right, I'm going to turn it over. Actually, I'm going to do this one next. So I'm lining the card up right with the designer series paper, bringing it right over towards that fold mark, and I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive, and I'm going to close that and hold it shut for just a minute or so to get it to be the adhering process to start. Okay, so now I'm going to open this back up, and I am going to add my glue on all 4 flaps, and we're going to close the back of the card. And I'm just going to hold it in place for a moment. And while that is, getting a nice seal on it, we're going to start with the back panel card that we made earlier. And I'm going to add, let me just shut my glue for a minute, and I'm going to add some adhesive to the back. I'm going to go around all 4 sides because I want this to really hold in place. I'm going to just double check my front of my card. I want this facing the same direction, but remember, it's going to open up like that. Okay, now let's start doing some decorating. So I am going to let me get my silicone mat back out. Okay, the glue is starting to adhere nicely. So I'm going to just add some little bit of, I want this one to be down. The next one, I'm just going to put the middle of it down because I want it to kind of float. So I'm just adding just a little bit of the liquid. To get this piece, I put we have a die that cuts out, if you stamp the butterfly, it cuts it out. So I put that die down on the paper, and then I put the detail die in it, and I ended up with this little frame plus the butterfly. So this is going to frame the butterfly on the front of the card. So I'm just going to center that, press it down, and then here I have the butterfly that was cut out in the middle of this, that I am only going to add the adhesive right down the middle because I want it to kind of flap a little bit. I want it to be able to have some movement. So I'm going to line up that body where it needs to go and hold it down just a little bit. You can see how it just has that bit of movement. And now what I'm going to use to decorate, I'm going to use the Itty Bitty Bokeh mix, which is great for, you can see it all popping out. It's really great for to make shaker cards, but you also can pick out pieces and glue them on. So I'm just going to grab my Take a Pick tool so it can help me. And I'm going to start by just putting some little dots of glue. I don't want a lot. So I'm trying to be really careful. And I am going to try to take out the little berry burst bling. You don't want to put a lot of glue on because what you'll find is that it will, these are so little, it will seep around and then you'll end up with some glue on the front of your card. So I'm just trying to get the little bit, the tiniest bit. And again, I'm going to look for some of those oops, I didn't get one. I'm gluing down a piece of my bit of my Take a Pick tool. So let's try it again. Let's find some of it. and put it down. Oops, I dropped it. And I think the little bit of glue I put down dried. So I'm just going to put some around the butterfly too. So these gems are flat. There's a lot of them that are flat, but there are also some really pretty fresh freesia, like little, they have a little bit of dimension. Kind of cool. Oops, I have two of them. I only need one. Okay, and then, because I like to have odd numbers, I'm going to put one more down here by the sentiment. Okay, and so that's what the front of the card looks like. You can see it kind of shimmering. And now I want to show you the inside. It should be dry now, so you can see how it pops up and then closes in so you can't see it. And now on the back, I think I'm going to put, there are some little silver. Let's see if I can find them. I'm going to put them sort of around the greeting. Let's see, that's the kind of the blue one. I want the silver. So if I can't find the silver, I'll do the blue. Maybe take a couple out. Oh, there we go. That makes it easier to find them. They kind of shimmer a little blue, but that's okay. I can just get it to stay in place. There we go. And then I will put one down by this butterfly. So we'll have 5 on this one. And that's what that side looks like. So this is our fun fold for tonight. Let me just get these. So we have the front of the card. When you open it up, the mechanisms cause the 2 little cards to fold up. You can see that this one, you can see the opening, and you can see the opening. So you don't see the pencil marks that you made. And then when you close it, you get the back of the card that opens up to the sentiment. It is a 5x5 card, Barbara. So I said at the beginning, this is the kind of card I put in a gift bag because it's hard to have the envelope for it. But it's a very cool card. So thank you for joining me tonight for for Fun Fold Friday. This was a fun card to make, and I hope you try it. If you do, please take a picture of it and post it in the comments once you have it done. And I look forward to seeing what you make with it. I will be back Sunday night for the month of March. Can you believe it? Tomorrow is March. And I will be using the beautiful butterfly set to share with you for Simply Stamping Sunday. So I hope you have a great weekend. I'll see you Sunday night. And of course, I'll see you next Friday night for another edition of Fun Fold Friday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.